When I first brought Max home, he was a bundle of energy wrapped in soft golden fur. His floppy ears bounced with every step, and his tail wagged with such enthusiasm that it seemed to have a life of its own. I had dreamed of having a dog for years, and now that dream was a reality. But with that reality came a daunting challenge: training him. I had read countless books and watched numerous videos, but nothing could prepare me for the whirlwind that was a puppy. The first few weeks with Max were a blur of chewed shoes, puddles on the floor, and sleepless nights filled with whines and howls. I quickly realized that training was not just about teaching commands. It was about establishing a bond, understanding his needs, and communicating effectively. I was determined to turn this chaotic situation into a harmonious partnership, so I set out on a journey to train Max using effective techniques that I hoped would work. I began with the basics: sit, stay, come. I chose a quiet spot in my living room, armed with treats, a clicker, and a heart full of patience. Max was easily distracted by the flutter of leaves outside the window or the sound of a car passing by. But I knew I had to be consistent. I started with sit. Holding a treat above his nose, I slowly moved it back over his head. His instinct was to follow the treat, and sure enough, his bottom hit the floor. I clicked the clicker and rewarded him with the treat. The first time it worked, I felt a surge of triumph. I repeated this process, and soon he was sitting on command, his eyes sparkling with excitement each time he succeeded. But training wasn't just about the commands. It was also about creating an environment where Max felt comfortable and eager to learn. I learned quickly that positive reinforcement was key. Every time he did something right, I celebrated. I didn't just give him a treat. I praised him with a cheerful voice, showering him with affection. "Good boy, Max," became a mantra in our home. The joy in his eyes when he received praise was infectious, and it motivated me to keep going. As weeks turned into months, I introduced more commands: down, leave it, and heel. Each new command was a challenge, but I approached them with the same enthusiasm. I discovered that short, focused training sessions worked best. Max had a short attention span, typical of a young pup, so I kept our sessions to about 5 minutes. After a brief play session, we would return to training, and I noticed that he was more engaged and eager to learn. One day, while practicing stay, I decided to push the boundaries a little. I placed him in a stay position and walked across the room, a distance of about 10 feet. My heart raced as I turned to face him. Would he stay? To my delight, he remained in place, his eyes locked on me, waiting for the release command. I raced back to him, clicked the clicker, and rewarded him with a treat. This moment was a breakthrough. It built my confidence as a trainer and reinforced his understanding of the command. However, not every day was filled with triumph. There were moments of frustration, particularly when Max would refuse to listen. I remember one afternoon when I was trying to teach him, leave it. I had placed a treat on the floor and commanded him to leave it. Instead of obeying, he lunged for the treat, his instincts taking over. I felt a wave of disappointment wash over me. But then I remembered the importance of patience. I decided to take a step back and try again. I placed the treat in a different spot, used a higher value treat, and changed my approach. This time I held a treat in my hand, showing it to him while saying, "Leave it firmly." When he turned away, I clicked and rewarded him. It took several attempts, but eventually he got the hang of it. That day taught me that training was as much about adapting my methods as it was about consistency. As our training progressed, I realized that socialization was equally important. I began taking Max to the local dog park, where he could interact with other dogs and people. Initially, he was hesitant, sticking close to my side, but with time, he grew more confident. Watching him play with other dogs brought me immense joy. I also took the opportunity to practice commands in a distracting environment. Come was particularly challenging in the park, with so many enticing smells and sights. I would call him, and sometimes he would come, but other times he would be too engrossed in chasing a squirrel or sniffing a particularly interesting patch of grass. I learned to use a long leash, allowing him some freedom while still maintaining control. Each time he responded to my call, I made sure to celebrate, reinforcing the behavior I wanted to see. One of the most memorable moments during our training journey occurred during a rainy afternoon. I had decided to take Max out for a walk despite the weather. As we walked, I practiced heel, and to my surprise, he was focused and attentive, even with the raindrops falling around us. Suddenly, a loud clap of thunder echoed in the distance. Max froze, his body tense, and I could see the fear in his eyes. My heart sank. I had read about dogs reacting to loud noises, but this was my first experience with it. I knelt down beside him, speaking softly and reassuringly, and offered him a treat. "It's okay, buddy. You're safe." I gently guided him back home, using the opportunity to reinforce our bond. That day, I learned that training wasn't just about commands. It was also about being there for him in moments of fear and uncertainty. As time passed, Max blossomed into a well-behaved dog. The commands he learned became second nature, and our walks transformed from chaotic chases to pleasant strolls. He would sit patiently at crosswalks, wait for cues before bolting after a toy, and even greet guests with a wagging tail instead of jumping on them. The hard work we put into training paid off in spades, and I felt an overwhelming sense of pride. Along the way, I discovered that training is a lifelong journey. Even as Max mastered the basics, I continued to challenge him with new tricks. We learned to play fetch with a frisbee, and I introduced him to agility training. Setting up a small obstacle course in my backyard became a fun way for us to bond and exercise together. I discovered that dogs thrive on mental stimulation, and keeping training sessions varied kept Max engaged and excited. One particularly hot summer day, I decided to teach him how to roll over. I laid him down on his side and held a treat above his head, gently guiding him with my hand. The first few attempts were clumsy, but after some persistence, he finally rolled over, and I erupted in applause. "Good boy, Max!" I cheered, and he basked in the praise, his tail wagging furiously. Training Max was not just about teaching him commands. It became a reflection of our growing relationship. Each success strengthened our bond, while every setback taught me the importance of patience and understanding. I learned to read his body language, to recognize when he was tired or overwhelmed, and to adapt my training techniques accordingly. As I look back on those early days, I realized that training Max was as much about personal growth as it was about teaching him. I became more patient, more observant, and more attuned to the needs of another living being. The lessons I learned through this journey extended beyond dog training. They seeped into other areas of my life, reminding me of the importance of consistency, positivity, and adaptability. Max and I continue to learn and grow together. Our training sessions have evolved into playful games, filled with laughter and joy. I often reflect on how far we've come, from a wild puppy to a well-mannered companion. Every command mastered and every trick perfected serves as a testament to the bond we share. For anyone embarking on the journey of training their dog, I offer this advice. Embrace the process. Celebrate the small victories, be patient with setbacks, and always approach training with love and positivity. Your dog is not just a pet. They are a partner, a friend, and a source of joy. The time and effort you invest in training will pay off in ways you can't imagine, creating a